G'day folks, thanks for joining us here at MC News. We are at the Australian media launch of a trio of R1300s. We have the Street Fighter-y Naked R, we have the RS in 719 spec as you see here, and you can probably just see the corner of the RT, the more touring version of the three. And really, I personally want to find out if this is the best incarnation of the new 1300 Boxer engine. We had a quick taste of all three bikes today. Obviously the touring bike, really interesting bike to ride. It feels a little bit more like a GS in terms of let the bike move underneath you, and it really responds quite well. Both the R and the RS that I had a bit of time on today, you can ride them more like a traditional sports bike if you like, move your body around and they start to respond really well. The R is a bit more aggressive, pretty much the same chassis and geometry, but has a lower handlebar height and different triple clamp setup than the RS, as you see here, and obviously front fairing, all that sort of stuff. I think I'm probably leaning towards the RS as being my favourite so far, but we're going to have another day on them tomorrow, get out and have some more twisty roads and have some more fun, and we'll find out then, and I will talk to you some more then. Well folks, we've had a day and a half on the new 1300 Boxers from BMW. Obviously we've got the RT, the R and the RS. And even within a day and a half, you learn a lot about the three bikes. Now, bear in mind that these are running the same engine, gearbox, chassis, basically, and swing arm as the GS. But these three bikes really couldn't feel more different. And they're really, really super impressive. So I'll talk very quickly about all three. I the buyer who is thinking about the RT kind of already knows what they're looking for. So this is a long distance touring bike, super comfortable, big high screen. It is quite heavy, so it's 40 kilos, I think, heavier than the other two bikes here. And that weight is up high. So you do feel it, especially when you're walking it around, moving it around at standstill. It is a top heavy bike, but once you get it moving, as with any bike, that weight kind of drops away and it is surprisingly nimble and capable on the road. Much like a GS is, right? They go better than any bike of that weight really has any right to go on the road. It's a bike that I guess you find, I think about kind of a more conservative or lazier rider, probably not a great term, but I'm going to use it. You basically tip the bike in instead of leaning off, and it works really well because you've got that weight up high. So as you're rocking the bike around, it's moving lots of weight for you. So you don't need to move very much on this bike. Super easy to punt along, really cruisy bike to ride, nice and comfortable. It's got all the electronic stuff. Well, I won't go into details there, but I think, as I said, the rider that is kind of interested in this bike already knows what they're largely looking at. The other two bikes are a little bit closer, and I think, closer to each other than they are to the RT. The R, let's talk about that one. It is a fun bike. Street Fighter-y, lower bars without being uncomfortable than the other two, and nice and wide. So, obviously no fairing at the front, so you get a bit of wind, but it's on your chest. It's not uncomfortable wind, there's no buffeting. I think the main thing that I actually should talk about with all three of these bikes, I've been really critical of the new 1300 Boxers gearbox, especially in the lower 2 or 3 gears. With the new ASA gearbox, so automatic gearbox for those who don't know, and there is a manual mode within that automatic gearbox, it has perfected that gearbox. I would have no qualms at all owning either of these two bikes. Either of these two bikes could happily live in my shed. That ASA gearbox is superb. So you can flick it in manual mode, ride it like a normal bike, obviously without a clutch. Yeah, it's brilliant. Super smooth shifts, both up or down. Any revs, not a problem at all. And the 1300 across all these bikes is beautifully fueled, really super nimble. Great in the twisties, really quite capable in the twisties actually, surprisingly so. There's a big difference between a performance pack, which is one of the white bikes. It has slightly different geometry. It has stiffer suspension in the rear. It's much more for flatter roads, or if you were doing track days, that sort of stuff. I'd go for this one. So option 719 without the performance suspension, perfect. That's my choice of the R. And then we have the RS, which is my pick of the bunch. Beautifully balanced chassis, beautifully nice and comfortable in terms of bars and rider position. It's kind of halfway between the RT and the R without being too cruisy. So it's kind of your, if you think about your old school sports tourer motorbike, you know, your old VFRs, those sorts of things that once upon a time ruled the roost. This is kind of it with a boxer, and it's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. It is so composed in the twisties, and again, without the performance suspension, which I think is probably too harsh for a lot of our bumpy, rough roads. It doesn't need to be that harsh, whereas the standard suspension on this is just super compliant, lots of feedback, tips onto its side, feels really good on its side, is super comfortable, has all the electrics that you're ever going to need, heated grips, heated seats, the whole deal. Yeah, this is absolutely my pick of the bunch, and I'm going to try and nab one of these for a longer term review. But I think this is the best boxer that BMW have ever made, and I'll be even more controversial. Apparently, BMW told me that 50% of their sales go to GS and GSA owners. I'm going to say that there are a big chunk of those buyers who only go on-road, who never even think about going off-road or gravel roads. They would be better off on this bike. This is, I think, a dynamically better bike than the GS. More conventional front end, more conventional feel. Most riders can jump on this straight away and feel pretty good on this bike. This is the one that I'd choose, absolutely. So I'm going to try and get one of these for a bit of a longer-term review. That might be in a month's time or so, but three great choices here from BMW. I think they have perfected that new 1300 engine with that ASA gearbox. I've got no issues with that gearbox at all anymore. It's terrific in this form. And for those who are wondering about, do I want an automatic gearbox or not? I don't have a clutch, all that sort of stuff. You very quickly forget about that. You very quickly, just get used to not using a clutch. Up and down like a normal gearbox, just without the clutch, and it works fine. So BMW have done well. These are really great options here. This is my pick. This is a good one as well. And as I said before, the RT, those who want a long distance touring bike, super comfortable, or have a pillion, comes with a massive top box as an option. You know who you are, you're gonna flock to that bike. These two are a lot closer. This is my pick. Well done, BMW. How good are motorbikes?